Welcome, everyone, to the 13th episode of the Guardians podcast. We have a lot of action packed news and community discussion to go over with you, and we have an announcement. So we're just going to jump right on into it. Short introductions. Conchu, man, how's your week been? I know that we've been doing a lot of Overwatch recording for our personal streams, but other than that, how's it been?
Dude, it's been amazing getting a chance to play with all the people that I've wanted to play with. The people that originally got me started, inspired by this game, didn't have access to any of the betas. So now that it's open beta, I'm actually getting to play with people who literally came to me and said, dude, you got to check out this Blizzard game. And I originally said, nah, no thanks, man. Those people that originally got me turned on to Overwatch, I finally got to play with them. It was really rewarding. And now it's like everywhere I turn, somebody's talking about Overwatch. So it's been really cool. A lot of fun getting to see a lot of new strats. Sometimes frustrating getting to see the new people.
Yeah.
but overall, it's been really exciting just to see everybody, come alive. Like everywhere on Facebook, Reddit, everywhere you go, there's a lot of conversation going on.
Yeah, for sure. It's been mostly nice to be in the open beta. I see all the fresh people and all the excited people. I know you and I have a lot of streamer friends that are like, I kind of want to check the game out, and now they can't stop playing. And it's like that kind of it's that kind of effect. I mean, what do you expect? It's Overwatch, it's Blizzard. So, but yeah, good. Sounds good, man. One Eye, how's your week been? We didn't play a ton. I mean, we had our normal.
We've been playing though.
Yeah, our normal time, but not as much.
Not as much, no. I've been fairly busy, hunting down parts for the computer, all that jazz. On my laptop right now. Happy to actually be back this week, so it's good to be here, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I've been playing some Overwatch with this beta, and then also I'll admit that in the tiny bit of free time I've been getting in the evenings, I've actually been playing a little bit of Tree of Savior. It's a guilty pleasure, I'll admit it. I'm not a big MMO person, but I love that old school style of job system. Like, I enjoy asymmetric gameplay. Like, I've been nerding out a little hard on that. And keep in mind, this is still like 3 hours across the week, but
yeah,
that's been my week.
Awesome. And then Tifa, I know you have some news we're going to talk about later in the show, but other than that, how's your week been? We still haven't really played much Overwatch together. We got to remedy that.
That is true. I have a very small window of time, which is about from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. that I can play Overwatch because I work pretty late. Been working on a huge project this week, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I've been enjoying the open beta. It's a lot of fun. It's interesting to see noobs.
Yeah.
And playing against them.
Yeah.
Always feel a little bit sorry, but not really. Yeah. But it's been a good week for me.
Awesome. Yeah, and we keep hinting at that news, and we will get to it. But for now, we'll just go ahead and jump right on in. There's been a ton of community activity. I mean, people absolutely love this game. And Blizzard, we already covered the first comic they did with McCree, but in the time between our last show and this show, they have released 2 more comics. The first one that we are going to talk about is the Dragon Slayer comic, which is based around Reinhardt. And pretty much it opens up... Reinhardt and his companion Bridget are traveling in an RV with his old beat-up armor. He's not in Overwatch anymore. And they stop by this town where there's a gang called the Dragons. And Reinhardt's like, dude, this isn't cool. Stop hassling them. And they essentially just beat Reinhardt down. They're like, yeah, I recognize you. You're whatever. Go back. Just keep going, old man. This is our town. Next time you interfere, we're going to do something worse. And so he goes and gets his armor, dusts it off, and the comic is absolutely epic because there's like a page and a half of nothing but Reinhardt just absolutely throwing his hammer into the side of people's faces, and it's unbelievably epic. And like I read this, and I Reinhardt's my tank that I play. If I play tanks, I play Reinhardt more than anybody else. And just like looking at this, I'm like, oh yeah, Reinhardt. Yeah, this is the epitome of just like. And he's talking about Curryverse the whole time. It's just like, yep, this is Reinhardt. You guys, what kind of feelings did you get when you saw this comic?
I'll let One Eye start off that one if he wants.
Well, for me, I just like how much personality that Blizzard's really putting into these characters. Like, whenever you talk about Blizzard as a company, right? Whenever you discuss Warcraft, StarCraft, things like that, you always talk about the Blizzard lore. And traditionally in first-person shooters, you don't necessarily see that much care put into the story. So seeing Blizzard like, no, we're releasing animated shorts, we're releasing comics, you're finding out favorite foods, you're seeing relationships, things like that. I mean, it's great. And especially on characters so iconic as Reinhardt, too. Like, I mean, he's not necessarily my favorite tank. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a Winston boy, you know what I mean? But I play him a lot because there are a lot of scenarios where Reinhardt just fits. Yeah. And so just seeing him come to life is really satisfying because we see you get so much information in the environments. Like, the environments feel alive regardless just from playing the game. But, like, getting to actually chew into the backstories is just really satisfying. Not to mention, it's pretty action-packed. Who doesn't like, some hammer time, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm really interested in what this character, Bridget, who she is, how she's gonna play into the story and stuff like that. We've known of her existence. We knew that Reinhardt had a sidekick named Bridget, and at first people were speculating that it was the girl from the live trailer, the one that has the Omnic boyfriend,
the blonde
because
one,
she's yeah, exactly, because she's also shown in the trailer where they're throwing like a bottle at the Omnic and she's like caring for it, and then Reinhardt shields them. But people thought she was Bridget, but apparently not.
No.
But I'm really interested to see what the friendship is, and I'm sure that Blizzard will reveal some of that later.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's so many Easter eggs that I'm sure that like something in the background of this one panel, it's going to be like, hey, there's Athena or whatever. But like, it's just the amount of effort Blizzard is putting into pumping this game up. I mean, I already liked Reinhardt. I liked the story of Overwatch, and they're just like, here, have a little nugget. Here, have a little nugget. It's like, I love all the nuggets you're throwing at me. Please give me more. And they're Blizzard, so they do. I don't know if you caught it that much, Khonshu, the Reinhardt comic, if you wanted to weigh in, or because we do have another one we have to go over. They released another comic yesterday, but
I'll be quick about it. One, thank you, Blizzard, for removing the tedious click of comics. I was like, yes, thank you for not having that. But most importantly, I really like the way that they made him very iconic in the sense that he had a very defined stature. He was very formal about everything he did. He was trying to be noble. He was, not running in and just smashing someone's face. It's like, hey, cut it out. I won't put up with this. And then when he took his stand, I mean, I'm not going to leave any spoilers on the table. But when he took his stand, it was very formal. A lot of people reference it to like a medieval knights type fight where there's a formality in the actual combat itself. So that's all I have to say about that one. Let's move on to Roadhog and Junkrat.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Roadhog and Junkrat's going legit. This is this week's comic. And it starts out with Roadhog and Junkrat have been approached by a suit. They call them suits. They're like, oh, I never trust suits. But like, they're sitting in front of a desk, and this guy's like, I need you to go take out this warehouse full of Omnics. There are hostages involved. I need you to go rescue the hostages. This is the first half of the payment up front. The second half will be delivered when you get done with the job. So, of course, and he's like, I need it to remain quiet. Please keep it quiet. And Junkrat's like, yeah, quiet. Sure, that's our specialty, whatever. And so they get to this warehouse, and people are looking at them like, oh my god, what are they doing? Because Junkrat's putting a mine on the side of the building, and Roadhog's sitting there, and like they put a bunch of explosives on the roof and blow it in. They're like, didn't he say something about hostages? They're like, whatever, screw it. They like blow the roof in, and they rappel down, and it's a whole bunch of like robotic figures, and they take them out, and they're like, wait, weren't there supposed to be hostages? And didn't they say this was going to be Omnics? And it's a whole bunch of like drones, and they're like, holy crap, and the cops show up, and they're like, oh, they're on a rampage again. And it's like, okay, well, they were just trying to go legit. And again, a whole lot of color, a whole lot of Roadhog and Junkrat and their personalities. And Roadhog, I think, says one word the entire time, but he's talking to Junkrat because he speaks in dots, and Junkrat knows exactly what he's talking about. And it's another one of those where you're like, oh man, like more backstory for these two characters. And I'm a huge Junkrat fan. Like, you guys who watch my streams and who watch me play or play with me know, if I switch to Junkrat, it's because I want to win a game, and so I play a lot of it. So it was fun to see this comic and see them essentially dealing with this suit and kind of the hilarity that ensues from Roadhog and Junkrat. But what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, it did just come out this week, so it is fairly recent. When you read this comic, what were your thoughts on it?
I can go ahead and take the first one on this one. I instantly thought what I thought originally was this has got to be inspired by like something like Jay and Silent Bob, because you have a character that he doesn't really have a voice but has personality through the other character. You have a very playful, crazy other character, and it just seemed like, wow, they kind of just brought that personality and transformed it into a hero's inside of Overwatch. I thought was really cool. I also like the different art style that they did on this comic. This wasn't like the previous one, Reinhardt, was done more, if you read a lot of comics, was done like Superman comics were done. This one was done more playful. The colors were a little bit more vibrant, maybe a little more cartoony versus old style animation. All of those kind of came together. So I really like the way they did this one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your point about the characters playing off each other. Because even though like Roadhog didn't say anything, which I think was a great move by them, by just putting the dots and then having Junkrat like kind of explain what he said afterwards, it's definitely a great dynamic because Junkrat, he's supposed to be this super eccentric, like borderline crazy character. So he gets all of the the commentary, and in the beginning of the comic too, he also makes a mention about Overwatch and basically disses them. But I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I definitely like the personalities going on, and I think Junkrat's a really funny character. I think that he has the best play of the game intro, the one where he shoots the ball against the screen and then it bounces back and hits his nuts.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
It's definitely a good one.
Yeah, I think it definitely like sums up like just Junkrat's character in a whole, because none of the other play of the games are really that silly. Most of them are pretty like serious or like trying to be like epic and stuff.
Yeah.
But he definitely pulls that off as a character, and it really shows in the comic too.
Yeah, he's definitely the slapstick guy. I know that he has that emote that it's my absolute favorite emote in the game, where he treats his trap like a ventriloquist dummy, and it's like, oh, like it just embodies Junkrat, and the comic does too. I mean, it's an awesome comic.
That's what I kind of wanted to touch on. What I really enjoyed about the comic is it just felt a little more chaotic than the Reinhardt one. You know what I mean? It felt like there was a lot more going on. There's a lot more action. I thought it fit the characters more. And then also to kind of echo what Jeff was saying, my girlfriend's an artist. Like, I'm really into comic books. I've collected them a long time. And Image is one of my favorite publishing companies. And a lot of the art that they did in that comic reminded me of some of my favorite Image comics. Like, everything about it just felt so alive. It was really colorful. It fit the subject matter, and I'm glad that they did that. You know what I mean? It adds more to it. Like, I say it every episode, but Blizzard's production always blows me away. They put so much care into everything they do in the comic show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and because there's 21 characters, they've only covered 4. There's going to be more comics, so it will be very interesting to see. And animated shorts. I mean, Tifa brought up, we thought Bridget might be the blonde, and she's also in the animated short for Alive as well. She's in the crowd when the Omnic gets sniped by Widowmaker. But they're so lore intensive at Blizzard, and it's paying off in a good way, because I was at work last night, and the Overwatch TV commercial came on, and I have my Overwatch lanyard I wear to work, and like one of the older guys turns around and he goes, "That's your game, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, what's it all about? Like, I kind of get a shooter feel, but like, what's it about?" And so like, I spent the next hour on YouTube just showing him clips and showing him plays of the game, and he's like, "Oh man, this looks like a game I could play with my son, like his teenage son. He's in college." I'm like, "Yep." I mean, it's an amazing game. Check it out. And the fact that you get to care about these characters, because there's so much behind it. I mean, they're releasing comics, they're releasing movies, they're going to be releasing more, I'm sure, because it's Blizzard. Like, you can never have enough lore. So those 2 comics were the last 2 weeks. We'll probably have one next week as well once the open beta goes down. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the next character is. So
Honestly, I think that's a big part of the draw of Overwatch. Like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you compare it to the other like big shooters in the market, like you couldn't do a mini series in Call of Duty. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be as interesting. It wouldn't be as colorful. You know what I mean? You couldn't do that with Battlefield. And like if we look at Team Fortress 2, which there are a lot of comparisons drawn between the games, right? Honestly, the marketing kind of reminds me of it too. Like if you look at the TF2 marketing campaign, they did, meet the soldier, meet the medic, meet the sniper, you know what I mean? They did all these short clips where you got to actually meet the characters and learn their personalities and care about them. And it's the same thing with Overwatch. And I mean, that's part of the reason I know some people are interested in it. And it's just such a nice touch. It's really good to see the lore just get so much care and thought put into it. It's really not common with an FPS.
It's not really common outside of most genres. So the fact that Blizzard's like, here, have some lore. It's like, it's so refreshing. And to me, it's what elevates it above a lot of the other FPSs coming out. I know the Battlefield 1 trailer just dropped today. Infinite Warfare is coming out in November for Call of Duty. And it gives you a different angle, like a fresh take on the genre and expands it a little more. What's up, Conchu?
I was going to say it's actually something really intriguing about the way they do it, because a lot of studios tell a first-person shooter story through single player. Obviously, Overwatch does not have a single player, so they've afforded themselves the more time to focus on the characters and the details there. And they've now taken what they would spend time on for single player storyline and now are able to produce these animations that are expensive to make and able to really, at any point in time, whether post-game, pre-game, or anywhere in between, they can sit there and release these pieces of lore and pieces of the story and not have to worry about that hard deadline like Call of Duty. Oh, I got to have a new story, new writers, all this stuff done before launch day. I got to throw it together. And sometimes we get like really crappy versions of games with really poorly written stories is because they've had to rush that. Overwatch comes into the FPS game, says, look, no single player. Everybody's like, oh my God, this should have a single player. But instead of giving us a method to get the story, they're instead telling us a story through many different mediums, which is really, really good for them as a business and good for the community as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, there have been kind of hints that something like Overwatch, I mean, obviously they were working on Project Titan and that got canned and the team moved over to Overwatch, and you can see the result of that is they're having a blast doing it. But somebody had actually shared, I think it was like the beginning of the decade, like early 2000s, Chris Metzen had actually made a Soldier 76 concept art. And so if you go back and look at it, he's wearing a helmet and stuff, so he doesn't look identical to what he looks like now. But the pieces that Blizzard has put into Overwatch, I mean, there's been a lot of foundation laid before, and you can tell that they've been thinking long and hard about, the characters and the maps and the fact that everything is tied into each other, and even like down to the banter that characters have with one another. If you have a Tracer and a Widowmaker on the same team, they banter back and forth, or a Tracer and a Winston, or a Roadhog and a Mei. Like you're like, this is really deep because of all the little things Blizzard is doing. And it just makes it a much more enjoyable experience to play this game. And people are now getting to see that with the open beta. But our next topic deals with Blizzard's policy on SFM fan animation. I don't know very much about this at all. However, Conchu had a theory, and he's more versed in that. So why don't you go ahead and cover a little bit about that and why you think they changed their policy?
So for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of community-created content, mostly using Source Filmmaker, a nice little tool that is by Valve that allows you to make movies, typically for Team Fortress. However, there are people who create 3D models and assets for you to do anything. Now, originally when I was looking into this, I was like, okay, I want to make some really cool, cute, like, mini clips, like 5-second clips for the beginning of my streams. So I got the assets and they're full assets. So when I say full assets, these assets have every extent of accuracy down to what's under the clothes and every which way that can be imagined. Now that was, just a model. Okay, fine, it's accurate. Most people go about their day and make cool stuff with it, and you've seen a lot of fan art done that way. Now there's also another side of the fan art that is more in the pornography side of things. And anybody could easily Google them and notice them absolutely right away. I mean, I don't have to tell you what there is. You can go figure it out yourself. But I believe that it got to such a point where people were able to make online a large content of this porn very easily, because this is how the industry does it now. So I think somebody came along to Overwatch or Blizzard and said, hey, look, you got to do something to tone this down. This is your assets. You want my kid to be playing your game with your name on it, and all this stuff is happening. And for those who don't know, South Korea's fourth largest porn search right now is Overwatch. So you got all these problems that are lining up. I think this is just Blizzard's way of kind of just reaching a broad arm and saying, knock it off. Please remove these extensive models. Now, I don't know if they're going to go after all models or just these specific models because of the completeness of them, or if they'll still allow the community to use models that do not have under the clothing type features. So that's where I see it. I believe it's just, unfortunately, the industry got a little excited. Another industry got really excited and went to town with it, and I think Blizzard had to turn down the dial a notch too.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Fans tend to get a little crazy, and the Overwatch characters aren't exactly the ugliest in the world. I know I've stumbled across one or two where it's like, wow, that's an imagination. But I get it. I know that fans were kind of worried about that they were kind of going to neuter the way to make community content, but we're going to cover in a few minutes a different way that fans have taken it to show their appreciation for Overwatch, because there are other avenues. But I mean, I get it. It makes sense. I don't know if One Eye or Tifa, you guys have any thoughts on the subject.
Yeah, look on One Eye's face.
I think it's hilarious because I spend a lot of time on the internet. Like I do a lot of work with multi-type, things like that. I'm on the computer a lot, and I actually haven't seen any of it or looked for any of it. But it's just, in my mind, classic internet being the internet. Like Rule 34 is a reason. Like that's a rule. It's around. Like it's just hilarious, and especially just because it's the source filmmaker, because you can do crazy stuff with it. Like I know I was talking about all the promotional stuff they've done with Team Fortress with it, but all that was done using the program. Like they want to showcase it. Like people, you can go really in depth with it. Like it's insane. So the fact that people have been making lewd videos with it is just absolutely hilarious to me. Like it doesn't. There's no moral outrage or I'm disgusted. It's just like, oh my god. Of course, like it's like
the internet.
Yeah, it's the internet. I just think it's so funny. I just really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's a little silly how carried away people can get. Sometimes they have an overactive imagination. Sometimes they just really want to show their appreciation for the game. And Blizzard kind of took that and said, well, there's really not going to be a line with that. When it comes to 3D art, just don't do it.
The fact that it got to a point where Blizzard's like, no, we're taking an official stance. Like,
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this is across the board. Like Overwatch really caught fire because, again, their characters are something that you can have a lot of fun with and then have too much fun with. So I think that they've just pretty much said, look, this is the final straw, because there was more content than that. There's all of Blizzard's characters on there. So you don't have to really. I mean, there's kind of a boundary, right? These are models that are created from scratch by good modelers, so it's not like they're directly stealing the assets. However, the IP of this character is still theirs. And if people are out there making movies, at what point do you say, I want to sue you over there for stealing my content, but not these guys because they're cool and they're just helping the community? You've got to be consistent with that IP, and sometimes fans get cut down by that. So I think that might be another alternative to why they're enforcing their IP right before a launch.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And there are other avenues to do fan art. One of the ones that Blizzard is really celebrating and focusing on the community is the 21 Days of Overwatch. There's a lot of Imager links. There's a lot of artwork that's up on DeviantArt. And they actually have released a couple of examples on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and throw those up on the screen right now. But one of them's Mercy, and one of them is Symmetra. And it's just kind of a way of Blizzard saying, we appreciate the amount of effort and energy that you put into this title. We know how passionate you are about it. So we're going to go ahead and showcase some of the best that we've seen around the community. And there is a ton, guys. Like, it's not limited just to the 21 days of Overwatch. There is an absolute ton. And I've seen a lot focused on Widowmaker and Tracer, and some with D.Va. People love D.Va. I mean, she's really cute. She's adorable. But a lot with D.Va, and so they're really kind of showcasing this 21 days of Overwatch. And if you want to go over to Twitter, if you want to type in 21 days of Overwatch within Google, you can look at more, because there's so much more than just those 2 that they've tweeted out so far. But that right there is probably the best avenue for your fan art. I don't know, you guys have seen those couple of examples. I mean, there's a lot of passion in this community, right?
Yeah. That Mercy one looks like it could have been released by Blizzard themselves. It's
really
so good. It's really amazing. And there's so many other ones too that look like they're professionally done. So kudos to those people, and thank you for the great content.
Yeah. The thing that concerns me though is the 3D content. A lot of that is hosted on DeviantArt. So it'll be interesting how Overwatch or Blizzard is going to handle that, as they're pointing people towards DeviantArt and a lot of this artwork, which, by the way, they have also tons of amazing May content. Pun intended.
Yeah, it's pretty
amazing.
Cool. Amazing. May is another one that you see a lot of. It pretty much focuses on the female characters, because they are. I mean, they're pleasant to look at. And I've even seen a couple of Zarya ones, where she's lifting, and I don't have the link to it, but she's flexing because she's a bodybuilder, and she's got half of the female characters on her biceps, and it's like people just love this game, and they love the lore behind the characters, they love the design of the characters. I actually didn't play that much Overwatch today, so I'm jonesing to play more. Like, you just get sucked into it, like you do with most Blizzard titles. And so the fans are really just out there showing off all this artwork and just kind of having this unbridled passion for the game. And there's a lot of talent in the community.
I think that it's even more amazing is I've been seeing, because I obviously obsess over this and everything comes into my channel, but I don't know if you guys know who Bangle is. An actual comic book artist sat down and took 10 days on and off, according to the artwork, of just doing an entire scene. It's really cool. I'll have to retweet it back out and you guys can send it out. But really cool art piece. So I'm seeing a lot of actual professional comic book artists jumping in and saying, if I reimagine these characters, here's how I would present them. So it's not even just capturing just general community people. It's capturing entire professionals that are just going like, oh, these characters are awesome. Let me try them. So it's really cool to see all those.
Yeah, it is. And in a different direction, but still in the community, there was gear to be purchased on the Blizzard store. Those of you who have been following along with Overwatch, they released some gear during BlizzCon. I have the Tracer shirt. I'm going to pick up a Reinhardt shirt. You can see Conchu's wearing his Overwatch hat. I got friends that have the Letterman bomber jacket, for Overwatch. Jinx, one of the biggest nerd clothing distributors and manufacturers on the internet, came out today and said, hey, we have new Overwatch gear. And I think it's about 27 or 28 pieces. There's a bunch of shirts. There's a Tracer shirt. There's a Winston shirt, a Soldier 76 shirt. They've got an Overwatch keychain. They've got the Overwatch snapback cap in black and gray. I mean, again, the community, it's just exploding. And as soon as I'm done here, I'm probably going to go pick up that keychain and a couple of shirts, because I cannot have enough Overwatch gear. But I mean, again, this game is just exploding, and it's not even released yet. Like most Blizzard products, there's so much interest, and people just they just want to eat it up. They want to gobble it up. So make sure you guys head over to Jinx. It's right there on the front, on the home page too. It says we've gone Overwatch or something like that in the banner, and you just click on it, and it takes you right to the page with all the gear. I don't know, and again, it's Jinx, so it's not official Blizzard. It's not like the cutout that you see, with the logo and the stencil for the faces. I mean, the Tracer one has her triple dash logo, and it's stacked up, and it's got Tracer superimposed inside of it. I don't know if you guys have checked out any of that gear yet, but it looks pretty sweet.
I like the Reinhardt shirt a lot, though. To be completely honest, my fanboy dream for Overwatch stuff, right? I don't know if you've seen the Heroes of the Storm action figure line, but it's amazing. Those figures are fantastic, and I have the entire set. So, in a dream world, I would like to set up Stitches hooking Roadhog and vice versa. That would be fantastic. That's my dream Overwatch gear, is if they did an Overwatch figure line, so I could just anything Roadhog. Give me more Roadhog, please. The whole hog,
Yeah.
The only letdown that I would have thought that somebody would have played right off of is Google coming in and making an Android Wear all orange Overwatch watch. So I was like, oh, there's got to be an Overwatch watch. Somebody's got to do it. And nobody did it. I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, the Overwatch.
That makes sense. But yeah, so I mean, there's also that stuff going on. So if you guys have a little spare cash and you're big into Overwatch, Jinx is another place. The official Blizzard gear store or Jinx. They have a lot of stuff. I'm gonna need to pick up more because I feel like I'm lacking in that department. I don't even have the Overwatch hat. This is a different hat. The only reason I haven't gotten one yet is because I'm not a big fan of snapback hats. But every time you see me on stream, I'm wearing a hat. So I'm probably gonna have to stop being a poser and actually pick up some more gear. So head on over and check that out. Any more thoughts on community that you've seen this week, guys, before we shift gears and go competitive for a while?
I think that covers it.
Outstanding. Well, in the competitive news, and we are inching closer to our announcement. Don't worry, guys. I promise we're getting there. There were some more results in the competitive side. For the Overkill GG, the semifinals, the last 4 teams right now is Envious and Luminosity and Cloud9 and Reunited. They've just been absolutely just going to town. It's been some of the best matches I've seen of late. And, so if you guys want to check it out, it's happening this Sunday in 2 days. So if you look for it, it's going to be up on Twitch. I don't have the link to it. I spend most of my time on YouTube, so I don't have the link to that. But if you just go search for it, it'll be under the Overwatch. So check out Envious and Luminosity and Cloud9 and Reunited, 4 of the best teams in the world battling it out. And in other news, because we covered Envious disbanding, and we covered IDDQD potentially, when are they going to get picked up? Well, IDDQD, arguably one of the top 2 teams in the world, is now Envious. And hey, guess what? My man Tailspin is still on Envious, and he's over there. I don't remember who, Tifa, who did IDDQD have to drop to pick up Tailspin? I know somebody else went. They went back to their old team to Reunited, but it was somebody. I don't remember who it is, and I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to you don't have to drop that info either. It's slipping my mind. So, IDDQD, the Juggernauts, are now Envious, and Conchu did a little jig when he heard that because he and I have a friendly Envious Cloud9. Top 2 teams in the world. We are both big fans. In fact, he has the Envious chair going on. I need to pick up a Cloud9 chair to counter him because my chair is just, I got it for free. It's a piece of junk. So yeah, there's that in that news. And then there's a new organization called Rogue. They were formerly called My Dong, and I don't know if you guys who follow along the scene have seen what's going on with them and their results. I haven't seen much of them. Most of my focus is on the big teams. But their roster of TVIQ, Akim's Unknown Wins Rafflegator, who used to be on another team, our former co-host Artemis had a team that she managed, and Rafflegator was one of those members. It was on, I believe that it was Team Vigil. And then another player, as if it's not confusing enough, IDDQD. So that's their roster. Tifa, do you know much about them? You're our competitive guru. Like you're like the competitive fan person in the group. What can we expect to see out of this new team, Rogue?
Yeah, from what I've seen from them as My Dong, they've done actually pretty good in tournaments. Not like first or anything consistently, but they've been pretty good at being in the top like 4 in most of the tournaments that they enter. And IDDQD, the player, is actually he has a very good McCree, and he's one of their fragger slash DPS person, and he does really well. So that's exciting. I'm not too sure about the other players. I'm familiar with Tivik and Rafflegator, but I don't know much about the other 3. But I wouldn't say, top 3 teams in the world right now, of course, but definitely they have some potential.
Outstanding. And it's funny because IDDQD being such a good McCree player, I mean, it kind of baffled me at the start because, I was big on McCree. When we covered McCree a few weeks back, I was like, oh, the big Bam Felt Buckle, he's so awesome. But, like, I don't play a lot of McCree. But you see players like Taimu, and IDDQD, and these other players, it's like, and I see him in my own games, like, McCree is, like, in the hands of a good player, like, he's damn near unstoppable. Like, and to see McCree on the competitive level, I mean, it's just interesting to see all these McCree mains coming, and it's like maybe I should learn how to play McCree because there's something there that maybe I just need to learn. So guys, make sure that you follow along and see what happens with Rogue. On a personal note, I don't think they're gonna take out Cloud9 or Envious. Like Conchu and I, we're safe. Like I got my arm up on the camera right now around Conchu. Like we're good. The top 2 spots are safe, but definitely they have a lot of potential. So check.
For the record, I'm on Team Cloud9. Just letting you guys know.
Yeah, not everybody can be winners.
I know. Well, Envious will eventually. But and then I think One Eye is the hipster. He just chants Liquid or Dry and TSM all day long. So,
yeah, I'm like, give me TSM, give me Navi, let's go. Like,
yep.
Fan favorites all day.
So he just sits in the peanut gallery chucking shells at us from there.
Yeah, all day.
But there's also DreamHack Austin is going on this week, and they're going to be having an Overwatch esports rally, and there is a link to it on the Overwatch subreddit on Reddit. If you go and check that out, attendees who purchased, you bring your own computer, and you're allowed to enter into an Overwatch tournament sponsored by Razer. And there are prizes for winning teams. There's 6 Overwatch Chrome suites with the keyboard, the mouse, and the mouse pad. I still absolutely love that keyboard. I won't get it. I have a Razer Black Widow. There's no reason for me to buy the Overwatch one, but I absolutely love it. So there's going to be 6 of those suites given out to the winning team. The Play of the Game semifinals is going to have NZXT designed Razer PC cases, and my PC cases in NXT. It's really good, so that's a good prize. And also, the Play of the Game finals is going to be 1 Razer Blade gaming laptop. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens because it's not like big sponsored teams. It's just like, hey, bring your stuff to DreamHack and participate in this tournament. And a lot of people haven't had access to the game until this week. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on what we're gonna see out of that. But mayhem.
I just wanted to say
chaos.
I'm jealous.
You're jealous?
Like, literally, that's it. I'm one of those few players. Like I've done some competitive things. I've done some Heroes of the Storm. I've done some amateur competitive League of Legends, things like that. And I love LAN environments. I'm one of those players that I just thrive off of it. Like you can feel the tension in the room, you know what I mean? So just being like, yeah, it's a bring your own computer tournament, but we're doing Overwatch. Just like, oh man, that'd be so much fun. Like it's one of those things where I just really wish I would have been able to make it because that just sounds like a blast.
I totally agree with that because the competitive ones that I've done in this state, there's nothing more satisfying than hearing the other team yell at each other while you are battling it out with them live. When you can hear just beyond your headphones to hear in the room where someone's yelling at somebody else because they effed up and you're the one that killed them, it's just a self-gratifying feeling. So LAN parties are the best.
Yeah,
So
it especially comes out, I feel like, for the FPS communities, like either console or PC whenever we have like CS:GO tournaments at my work esports arena, there's always so much yelling from across the room. You know, like "Get wrecked, kid," "Your mom," stuff like that. And well, that's more of like the Call of Duty community. They tend to say stuff like that. But then like CS:GO, they'll say like "Let's go," stuff like that. After the matches, which is always a lot of fun. I've noticed that League of Legends players actually don't really get rowdy. They just kind of
Really?
politely like, yeah. Well, from my experience, um,
Because they've been
like,
clicking
small
for
LANs.
half an hour.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
like that LAN environment. For those of you who are listening and don't know, One Eye and I both used to be competitive Heroes of the Storm players. Near the end of my quote unquote career, my team actually got picked up and sponsored by an FPS organization known as Talent Gaming, who last I heard is under new management. They weren't super big, but there is a LAN center up in Denver called Clutch Gaming Arena, and they were holding a Heroes of the Storm Colorado State Championship. So I actually am the team captain for the Heroes of the Storm champion team for Heroes of the Storm. But I'm going to have to probably hang up that mantle because I don't play the game anymore all that much. But I'm jealous because I know what kind of environment that is too. Like we were sitting across from our teammate or our opponents in the finals, screaming back and forth at each other. Like, and it kind of amps up the overall hype. Like Overwatch is already a pretty hyped game. You have your in-game chat, your in-game voice. The casters get into it when you watch. You watch it, but there's nothing like being there live and participating live. It's so euphoric, on a totally different level. So I'm jealous as well. I don't get to be there, but you guys at least get to follow along. Go to the subreddit, and it should be on the front page still. And if you're going to DreamHack, take your setup and participate because it is going to be tons of fun, even if you don't win. I mean, Overwatch is just a fun game where you win even when you lose because it's just so much fun. And then the last part before we get to our announcement, Coke Esports is doing Overwatch celebrations across the country the Sunday before launch. They're looking for people to go to their local movie theaters so that they can do a 120-minute panel. It's going to have all 4 of the Overwatch animations. It's going to have special behind-the-scenes video. It's going to have limited edition swag for attendees. When they show up. The entry is paid. It's not free. But if you can get 100 people to show up to a theater, it's going to be $10 a ticket. You get in, you get some free swag. There's no confirmation this is Blizzard's public event. In fact, there's been no confirmation really that Blizzard's going to have a public event. They will, but if it'll be open to the public, we're not sure. But it's kind of cool. I'm not going to participate in one. I haven't heard of any theaters in my local area that people have been hitting up, but I know there's a lot going on in California. Guys, I don't know if you've heard of any going on in your area. Tifa, obviously you're probably going to have like 16 because like you're in the epicenter of Blizzard. But I don't know if you guys have heard anything else about stuff going on in your area.
My theater does. I'm lucky enough that I live really close to the Westminster Promenade, and they do a lot of events like this. Like I've seen the internationals there and things like that. So this is definitely one that they're participating in. There's a big draw there. There used to be a gaming center there that was next door to the theater for a good 8-10 years. So there's always been kind of a weird gaming scene around that theater. Yeah. So I'm kind of fortunate in that fact. I doubt I'll be able to attend, but it'll be good.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Well, awesome. So make sure you guys, if you're interested in that, search for it on Google. Just do Coke Esports Overwatch. I know that there was a post earlier in the week on Reddit, but it probably got buried because, the open beta launched and people are on Reddit expressing their desire to have Bastion nerfed and, maps changed and how much they love the game and all their plays of the game and yada, yada, yada. So it's probably not on the front page anymore. But make sure you guys go check it out.
The cries for Bastion nerf, just for the record, there are a few things I find as funny as that. It's like, you don't even know.
Yeah, like Bastion's not bad now.
He's got like 800 health. You don't know Broken Bastion. He's totally manageable. What are you crying about? Like,
yeah, you come around a corner and kill Bastion. You can get up in him as a tracer and kill him. There's many ways to kill him now.
Yeah.
Or
And-
Broken Torb back when every game was like double Bastion, double Torb, and
Oh,
you just
it
wanted
was-
to kill
And like
yourself.
double the speed, where that bot there, that thing would just shoot at double the speed. So it's just like everybody's dead. It's like, wow. what
Tracer's dashing and getting hit mid dash. Like, what is this? Like, I think all of the balancing issue complaints are just. It's really funny to me because I like having played the game so long. I think it's actually in a really healthy balance spot. It feels fun. It feels like you can kind of play what you want. Like, it's great. I'm having a blast with it. It's just Bastion OP, nerf him. Like, okay.
Yeah, just
The
nerf.
only character I can honestly say with the community that I am frustrated with is the stun radius of McCree's stun. Like, I watch people throw next to me and it's like, boom, I'm stunned. I'm like, I literally sat there. I was like, I'm watching this. And seriously, I see it to my left and I'm like, you should have to hit me with that. That's the only one that I've ever like, you know what, that should be an accuracy thing because that's an accuracy character. They should have to hit you with it. I don't care if they beam me in the foot or the head. They just have to beam me in order to
Should
stun.
actually hit you? Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned McCree too, because I know we were talking about him earlier, and I kind of wanted to bring it up with the whole IDDQD playing him competitively, and that's kind of like his niche. I think, and this is totally my opinion, I'm sure you guys can disagree with me if you want, but I genuinely believe that McCree might be the highest skill cap hero in the game. Because, like, all of his cooldowns are super long, he has really high burst potential, but he's super vulnerable, and, like, he's not a character you see played a lot. But the few people who can actually have the mechanics and the patience to, like, learn how to play him, like, it's absurd. There are games where McCree's just make me want to flip my keyboard, you know what I mean? Like, that burst is outrageous. The fact that Reinhardt, as Reinhardt, he can just straight up body bag you if he surprises you. Like, it's crazy. Like, I love the hero, but I can see where you're saying in that they should nerf the stun radius. Like, he's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and on the topic of Reinhardt and McCree, don't think your shield will save you, Reinhardt mains. All he has to do is just throw his E above the shield and it will stun Reinhardt. Like, just to echo the fact that it's crazy with the radius of that flashbang. Which, I get it, flashbangs. Like, you know, I'm ex-military. I've seen flashbangs. They're freaking not fun. But it's like, where is he pulling the flashbang? It's like a little capsule. It just like, it's like, and it goes kaboom. Like, half the map is like flashed. You're like, what? It's not actually half the map, guys. I over-exaggerate. But, like, yeah, Genji and McCree are probably the two highest skill-capped characters in the game.
Genji was a lot of fun last night.
Yeah, you played a lot of Genji
Oh,
last
he's
night.
great.
I'm probably going to play a lot of Genji and McCree tonight because I have to get better at these characters. But, yeah, I mean, Bastion isn't overpowered. Just get behind him, shoot at the glowy thing. It does bonus damage. It's like a headshot. Take him out. He's not hard, you know, a pulse bomb. He used to be much worse. He had 600 health in Sentry mode. He would get healed up to full when he went into Sentry mode and he had 300 armor and 300 health.
Tracer's pulse bomb didn't kill him.
No, it
before.
didn't.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
It was crazy.
Like, he
The other
had...
thing too is another thing you can do that's super abusable is like there's very little weapon drop off in this game. So a lot of people fail to realize that characters like Lucio, that will probably always be on your lineup, or somebody like Pharah is totally amazing at dealing with Bastion because Bastion has like really terrible bullet spread past like 100 yards. So you just stand back where he can't hit you consistently, and you just blow him up with like 4 shots. It's not that bad anymore.
So I will give the tip that I give everybody else that just get uber frustrated in chats and Reddit posts is grab a Genji, run at Bastion, and as soon as he looks like he's going to shoot you, smack that E. Because 90% of the time, Bastion's going fully crazy, and he just comes right back at him and destroys himself. And it's like, there, done. Bastion's gone.
Yep.
And it's funny. It's like really, really funny.
Because nothing says a big middle finger to the other player like, you just killed yourself, son.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not overpowered. It takes a minute to learn how to counter him. But and like any character, he's easily counterable.
I think Blizzard released some stats where it was like Bastion has a 70% win rate, like something ridiculous at low MMR.
Yeah.
But at the very highest MMR, it was like a 20% win rate.
Yeah, because everybody knows how to get him. It's like
yeah, exactly. So you just gotta figure it out. But once you got it, you're good, and you don't have to, it's easy dealing with Bastion.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and you open beta players that haven't played that much, that nerf Bastion, nerf Torbjorn, change this map. Oh my God, how do I get through that choke point? We've all been there. We've all had to deal with it. It takes time. Blizzard has already tweaked the numbers. Every aspect of this game so far is in a good spot. Some of it, yeah, I don't really like Volskaya on attacking. I don't really like Temple of Anubis. But you know what? It's that much more rewarding when you break through that first choke point. There's nothing really that needs to be nerfed. Blizzard has done such a good job. Like, things are balanced. The characters are balanced. They all feel really great. They're all really fun. Even the characters I don't like, I still have fun playing, except for Widowmaker. But you know, just have fun. Sit back and enjoy the game. And if you're getting wrecked by a Bastion, switch to another character and find out what counters him.
Always Junkrat, man. People
Junkrat,
forget
oh
that
my
even
gosh.
Junkrat is not super long range, but the bounce mechanic is really abusable versus stationary targets. Like on a Bastion or a Torbjorn who's really set up and is not. I mean, as somebody who is I play a lot of Torbjorn, part of the things that makes it strong, you know, the way I play him versus other players who are just picking him up is that I move my turret. You move the point around. You don't just leave it there to get sniped or bounced. And so a lot of the times, if you know, well, I don't like Bear, she's too squishy, something like that, try Junkrat. Junkrat's amazing at breaking sieges. You just have to find that weird angle that they can't shoot you from because you're behind a tall wall and just bounce some grenades in and laugh about it. It's a great time.
The biggest thing I can add to that, and this is one thing that I learned about a lot last night, training up Genji, is a map that you're used to completely changes with some heroes. Like Temple of Anubis became a whole different feel of a map playing as Genji versus every other character I've played, because now the whole map vertically starts to open up. Like Pharah, yeah, you can coast around, but you're kind of like this really great target for my Mei, essentially. So you got to be careful with Genji. You pretty much are a bouncing ping pong ball everywhere. You can go anywhere you want. The world is yours, and you can attack from some of the weirdest angles that I have never even thought of as somebody countering Genji. So if you feel stuck on a map, change your character.
Yeah, move around, man. Like, a lot of the characters have a lot of non-traditional movement. Once again, coming back to Junkrat, like, he's one of the few characters who can actually get on top of the statue in King's Row. You know what I mean? Like, just try some new angles, man. Run around. It's a good time. Like, explore the map. You'll be surprised by what you find and probably rewarded with new strategies. Like on Volskaya, there's a handful of characters who, when you're attacking on that first point, you can jump across that huge gap and get behind the first capture point to the left. I mean, not everybody you can do it, but there's a good handful who can. And a lot of the time, you're just not necessarily thinking like that. I like that you use the term vertical, because that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and that probably shows the difference between Khonshu's and my playstyle. Khonshu says, let's go Genji because he's very technical, and I'm like, let's go Junkrat because I like to play violently. Like, but there are options to counter almost any map and any character in this game. So
I play Torb because I like to punish bad grouping.
yeah. So I think that covers most of the stuff. We have an announcement, and this is where Tifa gets to be in the spotlight. Tifa, what do we have to announce?
So my company, Esports Arena, is hosting a $10,000 Overwatch LAN tournament in Southern California, and the exciting thing about it is that we're all gonna be there. Yay!
Yay! We are.
Yay! Yeah, so I know I've been talking a lot to like competitive players and stuff like that, and they have told me that a lot of them who live in NorCal or in like Colorado, right next to us, are planning to drive down for that because, you know, this is double the amount of prize pool from the next largest, which would be 5K, which is the Overkill tournament, which is going on right now. But anyways, so a lot of people are coming, and we got these guys flying out. Me and Sean Azax live here, so lucky us. But it's gonna be really exciting. It's gonna be a huge LAN. We're expecting a lot of people because we're also having a Call of Duty tournament at the same time. That one's not gonna be streamed, but the Overwatch one will be, so I'm very excited for it.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. And like she said, we're going to be there. We're actually going to be doing a live stream show from the event. Probably not while it's going on, but we'll probably be doing Esports Arena. Depending on when we all get in, it might be Friday, it might be Saturday. It'll be sometime that weekend when we can actually have time, and it more likely be Friday. So in 3 episodes from now, 2 or 3 episodes, 2 or 3 weeks, I should say, from now, look for that, because we're all going to be there. It's going to be epic. I'm excited about it. Everyone's excited about it. Like, we couldn't stop talking about it when Tifa said, hey, so we're doing this, and they posted it on Twitter, and I went, oh my god, like, I have to go. Like, this is it's the weekend after launch. Like, we have to go. I was looking for a reason to go to Southern California, and there it is. So we're all going to be there. For those of you who are local, come check us out. For those of you who are flying in or driving in, we're going to be there. We probably won't have Guardians gear on, but you know what our faces look like. I'll probably be wearing a shirt that says Veritech on the back, maybe. Flag us down. One Eye is a very unique looking individual, very hard to miss.
That's a delicate way of putting it, yes.
So make sure to check us out. But we will all be there. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. Esports Arena is an awesome venue. I couldn't stop gushing about it after I visited it during BlizzCon last year. Tons of fun. And check it out. So let's see here. We're going to do a new segment at the end of every show. We have some time left, so we're going to do it, where one person is going to kind of talk about either they want to give props to someone in the community or something is really grinding their gears. And it's not really a discussion. It's kind of just like, hey, you know what grinds my gears? And so I figured I would take the first week, because it is open beta, because we see a lot of interesting team comps, cough, 5 Tracers and Ohanzo, because we see, a whole lot of just interesting mishmash, and all of us are so used to playing, so we're used to operating a team in a well-oiled machine, and it hasn't been like that so far. Let me tell you what grinds my gears right now. The number of Widowmakers, Hanzos, and Bastions that are in every single game. Try and go a game without at least 2 of those on your team or the enemy teams. I cannot stand Widowmaker players. And it's not because Widowmaker's a bad character. It's because my head is always found by that Widowmaker character half a second after I come out of the corners. So hopefully King's Row. So hopefully, as the game launches and those Sniper Siege mains, quote unquote, will be weeded out, or they'll discover that other characters are fun too. But until then, the Widowmakers, the Hanzos, and the Bastions, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. But it's really grinding my gears this week. And the fact that then they get killed and they blame their team. It's like, nope, sorry, you made the mistake of picking that character. Don't know what you expected. But, that Genji deflected your arrow back? Oh, sucks to be you. Pick a different character. So, that's really grinding my gears. I don't know if that bothers you guys or if you're okay with it, but it really, ticks me off, the amount of those 3 characters specifically. Or, I haven't seen it as much, thank God. Torbjorn's on offense. That's not as big of a deal. It's the freaking double Widowmaker single solo Hanzo I get every other game. Or the double Bastion. It's like, guys, we're attacking. I don't care, I want to play Bastion. It's like, stop it. Don't do that. No. I want to smack him on the hand and be like, no.
Stop it. You don't know. Just stop.
Pick another character.
I can absolutely agree. I have no hate versus people who prefer sniping. And in the first couple of Call of Duties I played, that was something I did a lot. But I can echo the fact that, oh man, we're on attack, and we're going to have at least one Hanzo and at least one Widowmaker. You have to, especially in things with capture points, it feels like right now you have to work really hard to get those capture points. There's just not a lot of bodies going in. I don't know. I can agree that I'll be happy when there are less snipers. Hanzo doesn't bother me as much because he offers utility, and also it's the Luxman. I don't feel as mad when I get killed by a Hanzo arrow, you know what I mean? But no sniper meta. I don't dig it.
No. And maybe pick a different character, like a tank or a support, so I don't have to play him every single game. I kind of enjoy playing Tracer and Junkrat. I want to learn McCree and Genji. Those aren't tanks, those aren't supports. But and it's my mindset, when I see 5 damage dealers lock in, I'm like, well, we at least need a tank. I'll go Roadhog, so I have self-healing, whatever. Oh, there's a tank. Okay, well, I'll go Lucio. I'll go Mercy. But I want to have fun, too. Tanks and supports are fun in this game, people. Pick them. You don't have to pick freaking 6 Widowmakers. Like, come on. So it'll get fixed, but that's really what's grinding my gears this week. Hashtag open beta problems, right? And at least we can play. At least everyone can play. Everyone's happy. So I guess everyone wants to nerf Bastion. I want to nerf the freaking Hanzo, Widowmaker, and Bastion comps. Like, they're not needed on every single map, guys. You'll figure it out. Any closing thoughts? Sorry for the rant, guys.
I knew that was what your rant was going to be. Like, having played with you this week, like, it's been noticeable, to put it delicately.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's like, you can pick someone else. I understand Widowmaker's hot and has an appeal, but pick something else. Like, her ult offers utility. It allows you to see, like, you can set up some really sweet wombo combos. But other than that, she's not sitting on point. She's not capturing objectives. Pick somebody else. And they always find me. Like, stop shooting me. But, yeah. Any clothing shots? Clothing thoughts before we finish out this this latest episode of The Guardians.
more Roadhog. People who are into making community content, please more Roadhog.
Please more
I know
Roadhog.
that I don't get a chance to play him a lot, but I have a serious fondness for Piggly Wiggly. He's all I ever play at BlizzCon. Whenever I get the chance to play him, I play him. Like, I have so much love for hook characters. If you want to try something new, play him, and then if you want something to drop, please do that big old belly.
Big old.
Yeah, I played a game this week in open beta with 3 Roadhogs. No. 4 Roadhogs on my team. In the last point on Nepal, Sanctum. And
Oh no!
and the other team was like, "This is so cheese."
For those of you who don't know, the reason why that point is so brutal is on that specific capture point, there's a giant pit to the north side of the map, and there's like a staircase that goes behind it that has these little gaps in the wall. And if you're Roadhog, you can stand in the gaps in the wall, and if you hook somebody off the point, they get pulled up to the wall and then just dropped into the pit. And there's like no chance to like recover unless you're on like if you're on Diva, you can use Thruster. If you're on Winston, you have Leap. If you have Tracer, you have Rewind. But it is really frustrating.
Go ahead, Conchu. You were going to add something.
I have too been a victim of said hooking many times.
Yep.
As far as your closeout goes, I think honestly, like character composition, that kind of goes back to the thing that I literally just cannot say enough. That Overwatch, even after this point, firmly is character composition and communication. And my grinding my gears is really the communication. I still am shocked that they have a great in-game voice. Still some little things here and there, but man, we could have 3 on a squad and 3, just randoms, and we'll go into team chat and they won't say a thing. And so here we are, half the team's just nailing it good. But if we just had that one person to tell them, oh, hey, there's a Junkrat. No, you're already dead. Oh, hey, look, dead. It's like I can't help you. Like, it doesn't matter to me if you talk to me. I know what's going on my side of this game. But I'm trying to let you know if you're about to die, you probably should be on alert, and they just don't listen. I don't know if they're cranking music and maybe they can't hear me, or they just simply don't care, or they don't know that it exists, or they're stuck in something else. But something's got to change with communication, because it's like, this is a communication-based game. You have to tell your people what's going on.
To kind of echo on that, what surprises me about it is, like, I can kind of understand it in the sense that maybe not everybody has a microphone, maybe not everybody's in a quiet environment, maybe not everybody wants to know what, they don't want people to know what they sound like, things like that. But what blows me away is that people don't even use, like, the chat wheel. Like, I'm somebody who has played a lot of, like, high-res games, and in Tribes, and in Smite, and in Paladins, there's a wonderful integrated emote system where, like, you can call enemies missing left lane, I'm attacking right, my ultimate's ready, this is the percentage. And the fact that people aren't using that because it's in Overwatch, that's what I use. I don't even use the mic outside of the people I'm partied with, but I'll communicate in game. I'll be like, we need to group up, careful, watch out, you know what I mean? All the time. It's such an easy system, and people aren't even using that. That's what surprises me.
That's not entirely true. A lot of them are using hello.
Oh, that's not, hi there.
I need healing.
Hi there. And yes, and I need the healing.
It's like, cool, switch off a Widowmaker and pick a healer then.
I love it when I'm already healing them, and they say I need healing. That's my favorite.
Yep.
My favorite thing.
I do that from time to time, mostly because I'm clicking the wrong button. I'm like, never mind, because I can see the merch is like struggling, going, I'm trying to save everybody, leave me alone. And I hit it, I'm like, oh, dude, I instantly go over voice. I'm sorry, that's a fake one, my bad. Because you know they'll come running, and it's like some other dude just died, and I'm at full health.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys just can see it. You can't hear it. I'm spamming V right now. Like I need healing, but it pick a support. But communication could get a lot better, and I fell victim to it too. I was recording some content for future videos today, and I was playing Reinhardt on Hanamura defense on the second defense point, and I kept running off chasing people because I'm like, I'm gonna get some good footage, like I'm gonna get some good Reinhardt destruction, and our Lucio was like, Reinhardt, could you please come back to the point? And like instead of being like, sure, I took myself out of voice chat because I'm like, oh, I don't need this in the video. And then I thought, I'm like, I probably should communicate. So I put myself back in voice chat, and I was like, yeah, I'll be right there. But like for a good minute, I was like, oh, voice chat, who needs that? Huh? So I mean, even I fall victim to it. But yeah, things will get ironed out. The game will get launched. You know, people will end up where they're supposed to end up because there's an internal MMR in the game. People will end up, you know, playing against other people who don't communicate and other people who just want to pick Widowmakers. And people will play against the McCrees and the Genjis and the Lucios and the Winstons and the good team comps, the people who understand, you know, objectives. This isn't team deathmatch. This is push the payload. So when the game launches, all will be right with the world. But until then, open beta, it's kind of been like the Wild West. It's been fun. But even I have not been immune to my frustrations.
Look, I don't know. It may be your perspective, but payload pushing and kicking up that KDR are the same thing. Why not?
I do it, but then I'll go back and stand on the payload because especially if you don't have a support and you're pushing that payload, it heals you. Aha. So, but yeah, it's whatever. Overwatch is an amazing game, and you're gonna have those sour apples. I actually ran into one my first game yesterday. It's like I hadn't really tried the open beta. Let's see how this is. Start my stream. And that first game, first thing I see in team chat, y'all need to go get cancer. I'm like, yep, there we go. There's open beta. Hop, welcome back. Welcome to Overwatch.
Welcome to Salt.
Yep.
Feed me the rage.
It's like welcome to open beta. But yeah, so it's been a fun game. It's been a fun time. If you guys, all of you should have access, go play it. Go play it tonight. Play for like an hour or two. Just get sucked into Overwatch. It's a great game. But that pretty much wraps up episode 13 of The Guardians. We will go ahead and start doing our closing shout-outs, and I will start to the man to my right on the overlay. Conchu, where can people find you?
Actually, there's a new place you can find me, and it's simply Khonshu.tv. It now redirects to my channel to make it very easy. You don't have to type out all the gaming.youtube.com, blah, 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 blah. Just Khonshu.tv will take you right to my YouTube gaming channel, as well as Twitter at Khonshu. Yeah, I didn't have to say at
Had to think about it. Had to think about it. Sweet, yes, and I hang out a lot in his social media and on his streams. So I'm there. You'll see me there. Check him out. One Eye, where can people find you at?
As always, I can always be reached at Twitter over at NA1eye, and if you're looking for anything else I'm involved in, you can always find me over at Multitapped. Quick plug for next week's Multitap podcast. We're doing a look at some hardcore retro games, some Test Your Might stuff. I will not personally be participating, but been doing the behind the scenes, getting everyone ready, and it's going to be a good show. So that's where I will be.
Yeah, and make sure you guys Google over Multitapped. I've checked out a couple of their podcasts. They got some really great hosts. It's a lot of fun. Make sure you check out their content. You will not be disappointed. Tifa, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter. It's at Tifa PLS. Tifa, please. Yep. That's the only place you can find me.
and Esports Arena. Go to Esports Arena. Oh my God, it's so amazing.
You can
it's
see
an awesome
me
venue.
In person.
It's so cool. Like even the VIP lounge upstairs is so awesome. You guys need to go. They have booths and they have a 100. Is it a 100-foot screen?
Oh yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, 100-foot screen, and they have booths. They have booths up on the stage. Like you could actually
fiber internet in California.
Fiber internet in California. Go to Esports Arena. Do it right now. So awesome.
That lighting though.
Yeah, that lighting though. So anyways, guys. I will go ahead and do mine. You can find me on Twitter at VeritechGG. I try and frequent it as much as I possibly can. You can find me 7 days a week. I stream. Fridays are a little iffy because we do this, so I try and get prepared for this, the Guardians. You can find us here 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Friday, only on my channel here, VeritechGG. If you type youtube.com/VeritechGG or gaming.youtube.com/VeritechGG, it'll take you to my channel. You can find me there. Also, we are still doing our Overwatch giveaway. If you go check out the Guardians or my page, or a couple of the hosts have it pinned, you can win a free copy of Overwatch for PC, with 2 lucky winners being upgraded to the Origins Edition. All you got to do is just follow some people, tweet out, and subscribe to some YouTube channels. It costs you nothing to do, so make sure that you go and check that out. Again, every Friday, we'll see you there, all right? For my lovely co-hosts, I am Veritech saying, see you next week here on the